And so we wrap up Thomascember 2023 with Thomas and Percy's Christmas adventure. The 26th and final episode of the third series, written by Britt Allcroft and David Mitton. This carries on the tradition from the first two seasons, where we end the series off with a Christmas episode. But how is this Christmas special compared to the first two Christmas episodes? Let's take a look. Thomas might be seen puffing happily along the line, possibly headed towards a small town at Ulfstead, snuggled deep in the heart of Sodor, to greet the villagers. One cold snowy morning, Thomas promises to bring them plenty of parcels, as it's December and Christmas is near. However, the blizzard arrives within a week and Thomas is about to get an extra post truck. Percy is unhappy that he cannot help, but his chance comes when Thomas is forced to give Percy his job in favour of another. Thomas is not pleased with the change, but Percy is delighted and sets off. As he makes his way to the village, a fogman flags him down. He explains that the village is snowed under and that they need snowplows, workmen and a helicopter, so Percy has to leave his trucks on the sidings and go back quickly. Thomas and Percy work together to save the villagers, and Harold and Terence join in. Terence clears the snow and Harold drops food supplies for the villagers. They call the team the best Santa Claus the village has ever had, which confuses Percy. Thomas explains that Santa is a man who brings gifts during the holidays. Percy looks at his funnel, wondering if Santa could go down funnels, and after Thomas clarifies that Santa goes down chimneys, he reminds him that he left his post van in the siding. Henrietta is loaded up with paint pots and parcels the night after Thomas and Percy puff home, while Toby sneaks her along with the villagers on board into the yard. When the engines wake up the next morning, they are surprised to find the sheds decorated and repainted with some parcels that lay everywhere. They all agree that this is the best Christmas they ever had on Sodor. This Christmas episode is really action-packed compared to the first two specials, having introduced us to a new beautiful location on Sodor, introducing the blizzard and then introducing the danger that the village was snowed under. And I love how it takes Thomas, Percy, Terence and Harold to save the villagers. And the exchange between Thomas and Percy about Santa Claus is always a big highlight in the episode every time I rewatch it. It's just a fun little misunderstanding that Percy has when he gets told about Santa by Thomas.
Well done, Percy. Well done, Thomas, cheered the villagers. You're the best Santa Claus this village has ever had. What's a Santa Claus? Asked Percy. Santa Claus is someone who drops presents down chimneys at Christmas time. Percy looked at his phone. I wonder if... No, laughed Thomas. Chimneys, Percy, not funnels.
It's always fun to rewatch all these years later. And I suppose it's impossible to talk about this episode without addressing the controversial American dub. When the episode was brought to America and aired on Shining Time Station, it was renamed Thomas and Percy's Mountain Adventure, and it was aired in the Shining Time Station episode Billy's Party, which was set on Thanksgiving. As so, it was rewritten so that the episode would take place on Thanksgiving rather than Christmas. Now there's many things wrong with this change, because Thanksgiving is a holiday that's celebrated in America, not Great Britain, and it's established that the Island of Sodor is in Great Britain. And from a guy who's never really celebrated Thanksgiving because I don't live in America, I'm pretty sure it never snows in November. And I'm also certain that nobody celebrates Thanksgiving with Christmas presents and Christmas decorations. But what the hell do I know, I'm just a Brit. Although I have seen many Thanksgiving episodes over the years since my childhood, like that Simpsons episode from season 2, the various SML videos that take place on Thanksgiving, and that Animaniacs episode with the turkey hunter. So I do have a kind of understanding of Thanksgiving, and the Americans have a turkey meal and show that they're thankful for various things and celebrate. And none of those specials have ever seen the place be covered in snow, nor have people exchanged presents. So even though I don't have a full understanding of Thanksgiving, nor do I celebrate it, I'm pretty sure that this episode is not a great fit to be a Thanksgiving story. And it also gets rid of that fun Santa Claus exchange between Thomas and Percy, which was a highlight in the episode. Now, I can honestly understand them changing this to be a Thanksgiving-themed episode because of the Thanksgiving episode of Shining Time Station that the episode aired on, but I honestly see no reason why they couldn't have just chosen a different episode that's about friendship and being thankful for the TV series and just left this as the Christmas episode it was meant to be. And I've got nothing against Britt Allcroft's decisions, but I also see no reason why she couldn't have made that an exclusive Shining Time Station dub of the episode, and then had the original episode as it was originally intended released later on in the TV series in America. I think it would have been really fun to have heard George Carlin's take on Thomas and Percy's Santa Claus conversation. It's just a shame that the American audiences will never get to see the original Christmas version of this episode unless they find the UK version on YouTube. It's just a real shame that children from America back in those days just never got to experience the episode as it was originally intended. But with all that said, I absolutely love this episode. It just feels so Christmassy. Seeing the whole island covered in thick snow is just always such a delight to me because I love snow and snow-themed episodes. And it should go without saying that Mike O'Donnell and Junior Campbell upped their game once again for this episode, bringing in those Christmassy themes, as well as a Christmassy theme to the intro theme that came from Bulgy. And the music that plays during the snowstorm scene and the aftermath of the snowstorm is just so whimsical. It starts off being kind of threatening but also kind of whimsical at the same time, as you'd expect with Christmas music. And the scene is just so good that I could just listen to that music and watch that scene for hours on end and still get satisfied with it without any dialogue. It's just that whimsical that I just can't help but rewatch it every time. And one of my favourite shots from the episode is when James is trying to push or pull a bunch of trucks out of a siding. Because of the way it's directed, you can't see James's face, which gives you the illusion that it's just a regular steam engine with no face. And that was the intention that David Mitton went for when filming the TV series at this point. Filming the engines at such angles where you wouldn't think that they're characters, but they're real life machines. It just shows you how much David Mitton knew how to work with the camera and how realistic he wanted the shots to be. I also love that ending shot with the engine sheds being decorated for Christmas. It's just so bright and colourful and just a great way to end the third series on. Thomas and Percy's Christmas Adventure is definitely one of the best episodes of the TV series by far, and it's an awesome and fantastic way to end the third series. It's an episode that I always look forward to watching around Christmas time, and I highly recommend you check it out as well if you haven't for several years. It's one of the best Christmas-themed episodes the TV series had to offer, and you won't be disappointed with all the Christmas symmetry it provides. And that wraps up all 26 episodes of Series 3 of Thomas the Tank Engine and Friends. Like the first two seasons of the show, it's been a real blast going through the third series again, episode by episode. Getting to see the new adaptations of Wilbert Awdry's stories, as well as stories that were based on stories by Andrew Brenner, future showrunner, and stories that were written by Britt Allcroft and David Mitton themselves. It's a wonderful blend of stories from the original source material and stories that were come up with brand new by the writers and creators of the show. I've had so much fun going through Series 3 episode by episode, just seeing all the Wilbert Awdry related stories and the brand new stories that were come up with by Britt and David. It's been such a blast going through this series as it has been with the first two seasons of the show. And you can expect to see me going through the rest of the Classics series in the upcoming years of Thomascember. So until then, I wish you guys all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year.